The topic given to me is industry's dilemma of developmental planning. Every now and then in media, both print media and TV, we see that there is a lot of problems which people say are because of CRZ regulations is stopping development, so on and so forth. So one really thinks, is there really some problem or is some problem created out of perception? I will give you a few examples which I faced recently in my own organization. My organization was bidding for National Solar Mission. Recently, they have come out with 750 megawatt solar power plants put to put all over India. This is from the bid document. Look at this financial arrangements for the project. What happened? There is a business partner in Gujarat. He says he has land in CRZ3 area where solar power plant can be put. CRZ notification permits it. So my management was very excited. Land is there, which is the most crucial thing. We have money, we have technology because our own company, Sterling Wilson, is a leading contractor in solar power system. So let us go ahead with it. They came back and the question comes that can we have financial closure in 210 days? That is 7 months. I said, no, sir, this is very difficult because getting CRZ clearance in half time of that financial closure, nobody can do it. They say, oh, you people keep on telling problems. Second thing is we are having land in Vasai Virar area. Now this land was purchased after carefully going through the development plan which is approved by Urban Development Department and permissible land use are there. So again the question comes, okay, this is the land where we want to develop, can we do it? I said, oh, this is a river, Kaman River, and somewhere down it goes and meets Thane Creek. So we'll have to see whether it is falling in CRZ area. I said, development plan is there, approved development plan is there. So where is the problem? I said, no, the CRZ, if you look into CRZ mapping which was done earlier, at least 20% of this land isn't going in CRZ area, so proposal may not be commercially viable. Recently, I came across this presentation from Mumbai City where they are saying in 2032 and 2052, more than 30% and 40% of total city area will be required for urbanization. Now, from where the land is going to come? So why is the problem? Because developmental aspirations are there, time frames are there, time frames are to be strictly followed, and our environmental regulations are saying, no, you cannot do it as per your own planning. There are environmental regulations will dictate what is the time frame for it. If you look into CRZ notification objectives, one feels very happy and there cannot be two arguments about it, that ensuring livelihood for coastal people, conserve and protect coastal stretches, promote development which is environmental friendly, no two opinion, nobody can challenge, nobody can say anything about it. Is there mechanism? Yes, mechanism very well defined in the notification. Declare coastal stretches, restrict setting up of units, and restrict manufacture of certain type of, and storage of certain type of chemicals. Is it based on scientific principles? Yes, this is based on Professor Swaminathan Committee report of 2005, where they applied standard planning principles of zoning, vulnerability mapping, setback zones, so on and so forth. That means notification is okay, objectives are okay, mechanism is okay, scientific principles are okay. There are some interesting slides which I found in one of the conferences by SciComm, and very good illustrative slides. They are defining what is CRZ1, CRZ2, CRZ3, 4. All of us are familiar with it, so I won't go into it. But these are interesting slides which clarify to people who are not from this environmental field what do we mean by CRZ. CRZ notification 2011 also uses term hazard line. Earlier there were LTL, HTL, now there is hazard line. Work of hazard line is given to Survey of India. Again there is a clarity. They are saying now hazard line will be higher side of erosion line and maximum flood line. So that work, plotting of hazard line is going on. That means notification is okay, work is going on, coastal erosion mapping, that is done for completed for state of Gujarat, perhaps Maharashtra work is going on. Everything is fine. Procedure for clearance, well-defined procedure now exists under 2011 notification. Post-clearance monitoring, notification is clear. How it is implemented, different thing. Preparation of CZMP, timeline was given, warnings were given, 2 years was the timeline, they're already over, nothing much has happened. Now, when everything is positive, where is the problem? Now, there are few problems only. Say, high tide line, I was going through literature and my own experience. It seems in 1996 in Goa Foundation versus Union of India, that time of High Court of Mumbai Panji bench came out with the observation there is no standard procedure for high tide line mapping. 1996. And situation today is also same. I got CRZ maps prepared for two of my projects, and I have really doubts about this high tide line methodology as such. Incidentally, that Adani project for which Sunita Narayan committee was there, that report also says that HTL by two different agencies is different. That means HTL based on which you are deciding whether CRZ violation is there or not there. That methodology itself is not perfect. 1996 High Court judgment also says that HTL is fine, but for LTL, there is no clear definition. There is no way we can identify. And now in 2011 notification, LTL to 12 nautical miles is your CRZ4, which is the starting point. No idea. Hazard line, okay. For HTL, at least we have some 7 identified institutions in this country. Hazard line work is given to one organization, and I really don't know when the final report will come up. And HTL to 500 meters is CRZ line as per a CRZ, as per present understanding, but with hazard line it will get further extended. Now how much it will get extended, that I will come to know only when the hazard line is notified. Till that time, I am in problem. 2011 notification also specifies the scale for the map. 1 is to 4,000 for project level and 1 is to 25,000 for 7 kilometer distance from project. Well, for remote sensing, there is Indian Institute of Wetland Management, Kolkata, who is preparing CRZ maps based on remote sensing. For them, 7 kilometer distance from project on either side is a possible thing. For people who are using manual techniques, for them, traveling 7 kilometers along the coast really becomes difficult. We also face a problem. Our Kolkata agency prepared CRZ map to the scale 1 to 5,000, and we were sent back by DCZMA saying no, notification is saying 1 to 4,000, you have prepared map to the scale 1 to 5,000, please go and get it prepared. Those people argued if you prepare to the scale 1 to 4,000, the map goes into 2 sheets and you will not be able to make out. I said, nothing, we cannot help because your management authority is saying we need maps in 1 to 4,000. So we don't understand what is the objective, sticking to those figures or really interpreting the CRZ maps. This new notification also has come back with some old terms, rapid EIA, comprehensive EIA. In 2006 EIA notification, we had done away with rapid EIA and comprehensive EIA. They have reappeared in 2011, perhaps because EIA notification is prepared by one group of in ministry and CRZ notification is by other group of the ministry. And there is no coordination between these ministries. Now, we people sitting on industry side will be facing difficulty in National Green Tribunal because there is nowhere definition of rapid EIA and comprehensive EIA. What needs to be covered in one is rapid EIA and comprehensive EIA, and I will give an example. If you talk of comprehensive EIA for land-based projects, they call it 3-season data, post-monsoon, winter, and summer. When I went to NIO, they said in marine environment there are only 2 seasons, it is post-monsoon and pre-monsoon, because monsoon we cannot collect data. So 2 monsoon marine, 3 season land side. So what is comprehensive EIA definition? I'm not sure because I'm always having that fear of NGT in my mind because NGT is going to question ministry, show me your definition of rapid EIA, comprehensive EIA. Another difficult portion is superimposition of project layout on CRZ maps. Now, CRZ maps which are prepared by remote sensing technique, they give you JPG files. So your map, you are trying to superimpose on JPG file where distortions are there, and then with microscope or in magnifier, you look into the map and say, oh, this portion is going in CRZ, this portion is going here, you go back to institution. And type of unique experience we people on industry side get when we go to this CRZ mapping agency and getting any correction done, only we know our words. In the EIA notification, there is a category A and category B projects. In B, there is B1 and B2. In CRZ notification, perhaps that wisdom which was in 2006 in EIA notification, perhaps it was not shared among the ministry officers. So even for smallest possible project, they talk of complete long list of submissions which are required. In CRZ notification, there is a Form 1 at the end. EIA notification also, there is Form 1. EIA notification Form 1 was subsequently amended. CRZ notification form is not amended. So for EIA notification, I had to submit different forms. CRZ notification, I had to submit different form. Now, these are the things which really industry worries. With so many people sitting together, so many brains together, why these simple things cannot be solved and our life can be made simple. As far as setback line is considered, right from 1991, we are following that magic figure of 500 meters. And one really doesn't know why this 500 meters is there. Even your hazard line will start beyond 500 meters. Different countries have different figures, so why we cannot have it? I was mentioning the case of Virar. Now this is a Thane Creek, and this is where my land is lying, and this is the Kaman River. In 2009, when SES had done the mapping, this is point up to which CRZ line was coming. Now this was also after there are bunds along all along this Kaman River for protection of land from salinity intrusion. These bunds are broken over time, so during high tide some water comes here. So this was situation in 2009, and 2011 what happened that saline water starts coming in, mangrove seeds float along with it, mangrove grow. Moment mangrove grows, new notification says mangroves are CRZ1A, so your CRZ has to be beyond that, and therefore our developable area has come down to this much level. Now this is also high tide line, so 100 meters beyond that. So almost my entire area I'm losing. Why? Because the CRZ notification has come up, which has now put mangrove in CRZ area, and government has not maintained the ones which government was supposed to maintain. This is another interesting project again. I mentioned about rapid EIA and comprehensive EIA. In Gujarat, we are developing a port. In that, we are now putting up LNG terminal. For the LNG terminal, now CRZ notification says I have to do comprehensive EIA. My management says, okay, if it is a requirement and it is helping industry and environment, we will definitely do us. Please explain that you are not emitting anything to air, neither you are leaving any wastewater to landside, and you are telling me you have to study 10-kilometer radial distance landside data for air quality, water quality, soil quality, and I will be losing something like 1 year for completing all this process. In what way it is benefiting your environment? I don't have answer for this type of things. So I'm expecting that when we deliberate for 2 days, at least I will be able to go back and tell my management this is the logic behind monitoring 10-kilometer radial distance on land side for LNG project. Is there a solution? We keep on discussing carrying capacity-based developmental planning, and it says that ultimate objective is economic progress and quality of life, and which should take into account both supportive capacity and assimilative capacity of environment. Last 20-25 years, we have been talking of the same thing. We keep on talking that we should not follow top-down approach of like CRZ notification. We should have involvement of local people and follow bottom-up approach. Nice in conferences and seminars. I don't see practical implementation of it. It also talks of that everybody has different set of expertise. Let us put together this expertise and come out with something. Is nothing happening? In Ministry of Environment website, this is a report available for coastal zones of India prepared by Space Application Center, ISRO, Ahmedabad. They have developed methodology for mangrove health assessment. Some index they have come out with, divided the entire coast in different grids, and what is the health index for that mangrove community there, and based on that, where does it stand? My question is simple. Again, this is from mangrove cell of Government of Maharashtra. These are the objectives of mangrove ecosystem. I am saying, can we develop mangrove environmental role index? Which mangrove is good for environment and which mangroves can be done away with? Like Mr. Raju mentioned in the morning for this car shed in MMRDA. If that mangrove is not going to play any role or environmental benefit, why can't we get away with it? Or are we going to say, moment you say mangrove, जैसे वो मेरा बच्चा कहता है कहीं वो भगवान दिखाई दिया नमस्कार करना है. So moment you say mangrove, you should not touch it. Are we going to follow it? Well, so instead of thank you, I am going to saying, please help me.